guys met in January, you mentioned you felt like this was the most talented group you had overall. What made you say that, or what gives you that belief about this group from top to bottom?
You know, these guys are all hand selected, and they're all hand selected by myself. So, you know, in the process of going through the recruitment of all these kids, it's really starting to pan out for them. So, from the top down, it's the most depth we've had talent-wise.
What do you need to see, or what do you think they need to do to turn that potential in your mind to productivity on the field next year? I mean, because you know what Nick can do, but I'm guessing the other guys are still some question marks.
Yeah, I think it's going to take time for them to get adjusted to the speed of the game, and we've talked about that before, and taking advantage of opportunity. And when that opportunity shows, the preparation got you there, and that's when production shows.
It looks like Bollers, who talked about the other day that he had dropped some weight, that he is starting to be productive on the field. What have you seen from him this week?
Yeah, the one thing we talked about with TJ was he's got to trim up and twitch up,
Okay.
and that's shown up a lot for him so far.
What led you to use Darryl in the way that you did in that bowl game, which was kind of a new feature for him? And where is he taking his game now in spring?
Yeah, you know, Darryl's a violent player. He plays hard. He's heavy-handed, and we felt like giving him some opportunities there in the bowl game, you know, kind of spur him along as a player as well, but also gave him an opportunity to showcase some of his ability without it being a 1 week and you're ready to go. We gave him plenty of time to learn the plays that he would be involved in.
What did you see from him that night?
For the bowl game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, he played hard, played physical. He was dependable, and he checked the boxes for me after that game.
Has he been able to translate that to spring?
For sure. And we've got him working both boundary and field right now with Nick being down. So he's learning a lot of football, a lot of what we do. And, you know, he's got the pass rush kind of natural ability. He's really working on some of the coverage skills that are coming along for him.
You know, Nick is pretty open talking about his goals, what he calls his failures, and why he wants to avoid those in the future. He talked about some plays that haunt him. What do you think is his number one asset?
As far as a player, or
Just
as far as
anything. When you say this is why Nick Herbig is a player we can depend on, what would you list the number one quality?
you know, he plays like a Badger. You know, he's smart, tough, dependable. He takes ownership to his role. He puts others accountable, not in a cocky way. And, you know, he's just a great kid that wants to be good. And when you want to be good, you can kind of fight off the demon that wants you to be bad. And he's done a really good job of, you know, translating his work ethic into others, but at the same time pushing himself.
Nick and Noah took the bulk of the reps last year. Obviously, Nick took a bunch this year. But do you envision, or would you like to have more of a rotation because of the talent and the depth? Do you feel like that's something you could do more of this season?
I do. I think the talent there, it's, again, as deep as we've ever had. So the guys are going to be fighting to get reps, and they're not going to be as much as, say, splitting reps with a starter, but you can say that they'll find more reps throughout the game.
How do you determine that? Because, I mean, some coaches, if you have a guy like Nick, I'm sure there's part of you that says, I don't want to take him off the field.
Yeah.
How do you determine when to sprinkle guys in?
I think it's situationally driven.
Okay.
You know, when obviously you always want to play. Everybody needs it. We need to play. But I think there's situations within a game where you can spell a guy.
Okay.
You're like, hey, this first, second down, we're backed up. Hey, let's pull you out a little bit here. It's third down. We got to get you back out on the field. So that's where those will come in. Last year did not do that with Nick. I kept him in most of the time. Same thing with Noah. I just think the guys have come a lot further than where they've been in the past.
When you're looking at Darryl and TJ, we've seen 7 practices, 7 or 8 practices. When it comes to just, is there an area or like a key example about their progress or growth or strides this spring compared to what you saw last year from them?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lot more plays made in the backfield, where last year they're catching at the line of scrimmage, you know, playing a little bit long-armed instead of striking guys. And within camp so far, you're seeing the growth in the outside linebacker play of playing in the 2-point stance, right? And that's something that they both had to learn.
What about C.J. Getz? He's played, but this is a chance for him to step into the biggest role of his career. What is his skill set that gives you confidence he can do that this year?
Yeah, he's probably our best run stopper. One of the stronger guys in the group. Athletically, he's got freak explosion, power cleans, and vertical jumping. He just needs to put it all together with footwork and understand when to release off blocks and that nature. And he's starting to get it. It's getting close, so I'm confident he'll get it by the time we get out of camp.
We saw a very little bit of Aaron Witt 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Obviously,
me too.
yeah, right. It looked good, right?
Yeah.
So, are you expecting him back in the summer or potentially fall camp?
Yeah, I hope he's back in the summer. Ideally for him, I know having the surgery recently, his goal is to be back as soon as he can. But the timetable for him has always been, oh shoot, we got to go back another. So ideally, he's there for the summer for us.
What do you like about him when you did see him?
Yeah, well, Aaron's he's a goon. He's long, he's physical. He's got that blue collar mentality. And it's really all those guys in that room are fitting that check the box realm. But he definitely has all that and the length, right? He's the longest and tallest guy in the group.
You know, he's got to sit and watch, obviously a long time.
Right.
Is there anything you can do as a coach, or is it all on him to remain engaged as much as he can mentally?
Yeah, you know, during the season, we gave him projects to do.
Okay.
He did reports on tackles and different run game schemes. Now he watches a lot of NFL tape and just kind of reports on what he sees.
Okay.
And he's engaged anyway. I don't know if you watch him at practice. He is into it. He knows what's right. He knows what's wrong. He's a high football IQ guy. So, and character-wise, you know, you can't beat the guy. So, don't really have to push him, right? You kind of want to have to hold him back.
What about Caden Johnson and his progress? Where's he at? What can he?
Yeah, Caden, this is his best he's ever been. His best body is right now. His best pass rush is right now. So everything he's doing is outstanding, and he's getting extra reps right now with Nick not being out there. So this is a big bonus for him, and he's taking advantage of it.
You guys work on both sides. You mentioned Darryl working, field behind you.
Yeah.
Do you have everybody else doing that too, or is it just?
Yeah, just Darryl right now.
Okay.
Yep, just Darryl, and trying to find his perfect role and teach him more of the field stuff, just because it's a lot of more space play and coverage demand, and allowing him to have that field into the field sides of the position, and it's going to be easy transition when he's on the boundary side.
Rob, you talked before about how you've recruited all these guys. I don't know how much you guys as coaches focus on the stars or anything like that, but among position groups, this is about as good as it is outside of the offensive line. How much is that a focus of yours, and how do you go about acquiring the best talent you can at this position? Because it does seem as though it has elevated a couple levels here since you've got it.
I appreciate that, and I'm definitely not chasing the stars. I'm chasing a character, and fortunately for us, we found characters that have those stars behind their names. But we'll also get some kids that aren't starly driven, right? That we feel really highly on too. So I'm definitely not going after the ranking system, but it's fortunate that these guys are ranked that high for sure.
With having your starters replaced on every level of the defense this year, and obviously no not being here, but Nick also not getting team reps, how have you seen the group that's been healthy, the players that have been healthy, communicate with the inside linebackers that are seeing turnover? That, the defensive line, you have a couple of starters, and some rotational players, but you're also missing Matt Hennessy. How have you seen the communication between the your linebackers and the others in that front seven throughout the spring?
Yeah, it's coming together. And I think we are where we would expect to be at this point in spring. It's definitely a challenge with new voices in there, and really trying to find who those new voices is with each group. You've got mixtures of ones with twos and twos with threes. So the communication is a huge part of it, but we're getting there.
Who are the players that you'd say you show these guys on film? Are there consistent guys, or is it different for each player because their skill set is different? How do you go about showing them film of
I think more like NFL.
Pros or college guys who play at a high level?
Yeah, I go at it a couple different ways. Definitely by guy size. Like, this guy matches this man's size profile, right? So we'll find those matchups. I like to find guys that play really hard, right? I like to find guys that don't play very hard and can kind of compare them. What's the reasoning behind it? I'll always take a look at the top 10 edge guys that are going into the draft. So those guys have the ability to kind of reflect on who they are against them as far as production or even talent-wise, right? We watch a ton of TJ Watt, right? TJ's been a great asset to us, right? Able to jump on Zoom calls with him. When he came to Pro Day, Nick having an opportunity to sit down with him. He's been the number one kind of man that we've studied for the most part. And the other guys that have come through, like Zach Bond, he's there in a heartbeat if a guy wanted to call. Andrew Van Ginkel's there, Shobes is there. So we've been fortunate to have a good list of guys that are playing in the NFL currently that we watch their tape, and those guys can ask those guys questions.